Hello everybody, welcome back. Let's have a look at XRP. And I suppose as over the last, I suppose about a week ago, XRP's been brewing a decent setup, and the setup still remains to a decent extent. It definitely still remains, but the market is changing, right? And so for those of you who subscribe and watch my channel anyway, you've probably heard me talking about rotation events from altcoins obviously to Bitcoin and Bitcoin to altcoins. So from Bitcoin into altcoins is an alt season. From altcoins into Bitcoin is a devastating event. I mean, in the past, usually things trend with Bitcoin, and they have generally done that in the past. But there was a time that I've referenced on my video I made this morning, and I speak about it all the time on the Patreon as well. Just try and give everybody get everybody in preparation just in case it happens again. And it did look as though it was about to take place, and from what we can see, it's already taken place now. But a rotation from altcoins into Bitcoin last year, around September to January, was devastating for altcoins. Not just because the satoshis were being drained out of the charts, but the actual dollar value from a lot of altcoins was taken as well, because nobody wanted to miss out on the epic Bitcoin pump, right? Bitcoin ran from basically 12,000 all the way up to 35,000, smashing its previous all-time high and going on a significant rally, making the Bitcoin dominance chart move all the way up to one of its previous all-time highs, really, a very, very important level. And that's where we alternated from Bitcoin into altcoins. So Bitcoin was worth about 36,000 at the time, and then altcoins was significantly damaged, and that created an enormous alt season, which you could argue has been going on, really up until last week, really, to be honest. There's been a few blips obviously in the market, so it's not all about rotation, but it's about money in the total market cap. But anyway, that's a video that you should check out, definitely. And you should also, you should subscribe to the channel, and you should join the Telegram. The Patreon, it's up to you if you want to join that, but we do 2 live streams a week, and we talk about all these events. And like I say, for the vast majority of the last, at least the last couple of months, we have been entertaining the idea of what's happening right now, this rotation from altcoin money into Bitcoin money. And this is what I think will cause quite a large move on the Bitcoin's chart, and quite possibly some significant downside for altcoins in general. Some will get demolished, some will be static, some will trend with Bitcoin, but as far as satoshis are concerned, a lot of those will be taken away. So let's have a look and revisit the XRP chart. So XRP on the 4 hourly. So this is the setup that we had. We were moving up nicely. We got our golden cross. We rallied up, and we were waiting for a potential dump into a golden cross, and this could be part of that move, right? So you often get dumps into golden crosses, very standard procedure. So a big rally up, and then we've pulled back down to the green 50 exponential. If Bitcoin decides to pull back itself, and again, Bitcoin is pretty extended right now. It could obviously go higher. It's very bullish right now. And again, if people are going to start flipping from their altcoins into Bitcoin because they can see what we all saw 2 weeks ago coming to fruition, that could cause more downside for alts versus their dollars. And Bitcoin corrects or has these flash dumps, or just even pulls back, altcoins will continue to go down as well. So you've got to bear all of this in mind. But as far as this setup is concerned, with or without the rotation taking place, it does still look okay for what we were expecting. A move up and maybe a dump down into the golden cross, which could bring us down to about $1.05. So long as we're above $1.05, this has every opportunity to bounce and recover itself. So that's the 4 hourly chart, still remaining okay, still relatively healthy. Excuse me. 12 hourly chart looking even better, so being held on the bouncing as of today on the 21 and the 20 exponential moving average, so having a decent reaction to that, and that was about $1.08. But again, if we come down to the green 50 on the 12 hourly, that's your $1.05 or $1.06. And let's check the daily, what we got going on here. So we've got the 21 exponential about $1.06, we've got the 50 exponential $1.04. So there is a lot of supports down just above $1. And then worst case scenario, we do revisit the center of this Bollinger Band on the daily, which is $1.02. $1.03. Again, these are all still trending up, so it's still in an uptrend still. It's just having its pullback now. But again, the greater picture is the rotation picture. Although, I love XRP, I'm not selling any XRP to go into Bitcoin. This has always been a very long position taken basically when the consolidation ended. So consolidation over, get into it, and then allow for the chart to complete its 4-year cycle, which it does have a 4-year cycle, just runs separate to that of of Bitcoin. It goes down for the majority of its life and up for a shorter period. So again, yeah, this for me, it's not about trying to get clever with my XRP position, and yeah, it's basically the same trade I had since back down there, you know, below 20 cents, allowing to play out. So very very optimistic about how this is going to play out in the long run. More than optimism, it's confidence, to be honest with you. But in the short term, yeah, we've had our pullback, dumping into the golden cross, potentially a little bit more downside to $1.06, maybe $1.02. A wick to $1.02 would be fine, and a bounce and a close above $1.05 to $6 is what I would expect to see. So long as we're holding above $1.05, $1.06. This uptrend will still remain, even in spite of Bitcoin doing its rotation and money leaving altcoins into Bitcoin. Still pretty confident that this will continue with its uptrend. The uptrend will be void when we start closing candle bodies below $1. Well, we'll call it $1.02, which is the center of this Bollinger Band, and then we would likely revisit the 200 exponential once again. Now, if you have a quick look at what's been going on versus its dollar pair versus its Bitcoin pairing, it represents the market right now, and this is why I talk about this rotation. I've been going on about this rotation for weeks now, and I took action on what I saw the rotation beginning about 2 or 2.5 weeks ago. So I'm quite chuffed with myself, generally speaking, and I think a lot of people who watch the channel, especially in the Patreon, will probably be chuffed with themselves as well. Making that switch can be a nerve-wracking thing because you don't want to miss out on altcoin gains, but you also don't want to see this. And again, this is just XRP's chart, but pretty much every altcoin will start to look like this, and if they don't already, or some of them will look worse. And so what we're looking at here is where we're going to come down to from here, because we're below the 200 exponential, being rejected from it on the next big on these pushes up. So 50 exponential wick, 200 exponential body, and basically trending below all major moving averages on this Satoshi pair. So we've got to entertain where would this likely bounce from. So we do have an area of support around here where we had supports before the big launch up, more or less caught supports around here, more or less caught supports around here. So we're talking about 1750 sats, yeah. So about, there, give or take 1800 sats. That's where I would look to see a decent reaction from here. Whether this goes into a full reversal, couldn't really say, because the majority of my strategy when it comes to playing these rotation events is based on a Bitcoin dominance chart rather than anything else. And to me, this is going from strength to strength. And like I say, this is what we were expecting a couple of weeks ago when we saw that the 20 weekly had gone horizontal. Now we've reclaimed it. First time since the alt season really started picking up pace in January. And the daily is obviously in an uptrend, so we have to entertain the idea that this could go higher than we'd like. You could look for a temporary rejection around 47.5, perhaps, maybe at best, but it would probably only be a temporary rejection, and that would mean that there'll be some relief rallies around 47.5% dominance. So not more than, just a little bit more than 1% move from where we are right now. But I think the overall picture points to between 50 to 52, and if that breaks, then we are looking all the way up to here, 57 to 58. And if in a perfect world, for me anyway, I would like to see it break up and go up to these levels, because this is a significant area where we found a lot of support resistance historically over the years, and it would have a much bigger reaction from here, which would mean a much bigger and greater alt season. And for those who rotated into Bitcoin recently over the last few weeks when I was doing it, will have been, well, I mean, you would have been getting into your Bitcoin around $38,000 to $41,000, so you'd already be pretty happy. And if I think what is going to happen is going to happen, you'll be very happy if we move all the way up to these levels. We could be talking, Bitcoin anywhere between, all-time highs 65, we could be talking 80, we could be talking hundreds of thousands of dollars, whether it's $2,000 or $100,000, whatever you'll be looking at would be a bigger Bitcoin than what we're looking at right now. If we are to continue with a bull market. If we continue with a bear market, you'd still lose a lot less in this position that you're at right now with with a Bitcoin position than you would with an altcoin position. Anyway, I'm kind of repeating the details from my previous video, so I urge you to watch that if you're looking to plan for an alt season and get the most out of the market for a spot trader anyway. But this is where I would be thinking of greater rotations, and where XRP will already start to pick up pace massively. Because it would mean money leaving Bitcoin going into altcoins, and with XRP, you know, I suppose as we get closer and closer towards the end of this year, that's when its own 4-year cycle is due to kind of end. It does run in parallel to Bitcoin, obviously, because it's a 4-year cycle, but it behaves in a different way. And so I'll be looking for the end of this year or the end of this market cycle to be pretty fantastic for XRP. But if you really want to make the most of that sort of thing, or expect the move to really pick up pace, it will involve a rotation. It's unlikely to happen on its own, unless, of course, we've got very strong setups on Bitcoin and Tether pairing for XRP. But yeah, we would be looking for a dominance chart to increase, and I would love to see the Bitcoin dominance chart move all the way up to these levels and get rejected from these levels, because the chances are it will reject very hard and move all the way back down, and maybe even further down. So we'll be talking about an alt season that is similar to the one that we took advantage of around January and sailed all the way down. Basically, we'd be looking for something in the same league as that. So being on the right side of these moves makes all the difference, because if you're caught on the wrong side, you basically sat in an altcoin position for a prolonged period of time before the alt season begins, and then your gains start to get realized again. Anyway, I would urge you to watch that video. Like I say, join Patreon and Telegram, and we're also thinking of diversifying into stocks recently. So I've been taking profit. I take profit pretty much every month from crypto, and 10% of that profit I'm putting into stocks. So there's a link in the description of what platform I'm using, and I will be adding videos on stock markets and commodities as well. So I would urge you to consider diversifying out of cryptocurrency as we near the end of the bull market, to be honest with you, and plan for to diversify into stocks, shares and commodities. And I will be adding charts probably once a week on particular opportunities that I think are either getting closer to pulling the trigger on, or I've already pulled the trigger on, like the Coinbase stock that I bought was it a couple of weeks ago. So yeah, I'll leave it with you there. Links in the description below, and join the Telegram. I'd love to speak to you there. Have a nice day. Take it easy.